Welcome back for the final time to the NZCIS, the New Zealand campus of innovation and sport just outside Wellington. It is the final of the 2024 World Wheelchair Rugby Paralympic Qualification Tournament. Germany got through in the third and fourth place playoff a little bit earlier, so they booked their spot for Paris, and these two are already through. They know they're going to Paris 2024 in 6 months' time. But now it's bragging rights and see who can win the gold medal here. Canada in red, Australia in the green and gold. Both of them have absolutely huge lineups that they can pick from. Alongside me, I have Dave Mengen, and this one could go either way. Two of the best squads in the world.
Right, two in the top five. They have met many times before, so they know each other pretty well. It'll be interesting to see how they come out here and attack each other, try and get an edge early.
So we've had a quick look at the squads, and we also had a quick word with the coaches beforehand, and we were lucky enough to speak first to Brad Duberly, who is coach of the green and gold, the Steelers, Australia.
Brad, another final against Canada?
Yeah, we've had a few over the years. First one probably back in 2012, so they are a fair rival of ours over time, and it's awesome to play another final, and particularly against a team like this. It'll be a great hit out this afternoon, so we'll see what happens.
And bragging rights, of course?
Oh, absolutely. You know, like 158 days to game one at Paralympic, so you know, we're both qualified now, so it's important to get wins against your opponents when you can, and confidence and momentum for us is huge, so it's really important to try and get a win today.
Good man, go well.
Thank you.
B Dubs, as is known, getting straight to the point as he always does. And then we spoke to one of Canada's assistant coaches and one of the first ever inductees into the Wheelchair Rugby Hall of Fame, Garrett Hickling.
Garrett, another final against Australia?
Another great final. Definitely Australia's a top team, tough team, and we're coming out here to play hard.
And for your team, plans?
Plans is just to stick to our game plan. We have feel we have a key offense, key defense, and will be instrumental to the win.
Great, go well, man. Good luck.
Neither of them giving much away, as you would expect. So we have the two starting lineups, so it should be that Australia are going to go with their very familiar high-low. So it's going to be Riley Batt and Chris Bond, the two 3.5 pointers, and the two low pointers, Bo Vernon and James McQuillan. That seems to be their preferred lineup at the moment. For Canada, they're going with a more balanced lineup, as you would expect. Zach Medell, that man there, 3.5 pointer. A couple of mid-pointers, Anthony Letourneau and Cody Caldwell, and then the low pointer, Eric Rodrigue. So David's going to be interesting to see how the high-low fares against the balanced lineup and vice versa.
Yeah, I think this is Canada's preferred lineup, the more balanced against a high-low like this. We'll see how effective it is here in about a minute.
Riley Batt with that shoulder of his strapped up. It has been for quite some time. Strapped up, it seemed to be hanging by a thread at the World Championships 18 months ago, but they nursed it through and Australia ended up winning there. That was in Denmark, and these two teams met in the group stages. Group B, with Australia winning 55-53 in the World Championships 18 months ago. They also faced one another in the International Cup that was held during the Rugby Union World Cup, the last week of it in October last year in France. They met in the group stages, Canada winning 49-48, and then they met again in the final, Australia winning 53-48. They're also going to face one another again in the Canada Cup in a few months' time. And then who's to say they won't face one another in Paris for the Paralympics?
Well, it certainly is a high likelihood, both, like you said, in top five teams. If they aren't in the same pool, there's a very good likelihood they will meet each other at some point in the crossover.
Kristin Hempfling with the first tip, and it goes the way of James McQuillan, and it's then lost. It bobbles away. Who's going to get it? Chris Bond. Well, there we go. I think that is an indication of how tightly contested this match is going to be.
And I don't think they're going to say anyone had possession prior to Batt picking it up, so the possession arrow will go Canada's way.
So, Australia on the board first.
although it hasn't changed yet.
Hasn't changed yet. Now the arrow that we're about to see as the ball is transitioned up the court by Le Tourneau. There you go. It's still pointing in the way that Australia are attacking. So that means that they will get, as things stand, the next contested possession, either a held ball or at the start of...
No try. It looks like he was hit into the cone. And he will not get that. You got to get both casters over the line or to your wheels before you hit that cone.
So it ends up being a corner inbound for Australia that Bond takes. Riley Batt fires it forward and Bo Vernon gets on the board. That's the second try he scored at this tournament. You don't expect the 0.5ers to get many tries, but how about that? Australia getting the first try, the first turnover. But everything's been hotly contested in the first 51 seconds.
Canada gets their first try after their first turnover. It's pretty early in the match to see a turnover. They'll be looking to get that back.
It's an all-German-speaking refereeing crew here, and all-female as well. We have Katharina Adler-Dohlhofer of Austria and Kristin Hempfling of Germany. Kristin Hempfling there at the top of the screen running to keep up, and then to the right of your screen, Katharina Adler. You have to be very fit to be a referee in this sport. Caldwell spinning this way and that. Medel fires it forward to Le Tourneau.
He had both low pointers on him, and once he got free, they can't keep up with him. Allowed him to get across half. That time Caldwell able to seal it enough that Medel was able to cross the line despite the contest. Unable to inbound, so you need to inbound within 10 seconds of when the ref blows the whistle, and they were unable to do so. He needs to touch a player, any player.
So the inbound, it doesn't start the game clock or the shot clock, but you only have 10 seconds in which to do it. So you can see the referees counting out with their arms, and Bo Vernon didn't have time to do it, or didn't have time to do it safely. So
that's a decision you have to make as an inbounder. Even if the person on the court calls for the ball, you need to know that you can make that pass clean, because you're looking onto the court. The person coming toward you doesn't see what's behind them to the sides, and you need to know what your range is as far as being able to get it there safely.
So you can see Australia leading 3-2, and then you've got 3-2 alongside their big number 3 for the score, and that means that they now have 3 floor timeouts left as opposed to 4. That's the ones that the players can take. And we've just seen one of the examples why they've taken one. A little bit of a delay there. Back to Bond.
Hard to catch when he's got a head of steam. So.
Indeed, yes, and they are the pair of them are hard to catch when they get a head of steam. Probably the best pair of high pointers you can have in the game, and that was just corralled there by Caldwell. You need to be in possession of the ball before your wheels go over the line. He was just about. My apologies to referee Madison Little. It's not Katharina Adler, it's Madison Little there, who is the referee on the left.
From the United States.
Indeed.
The only referee from the United States here this week.
Australia 2 points clear at the moment after that early score for it's a very contested first possession, went this way and that. And they have indeed changed the possession arrow and said that it was Australia's possession. So Canada will get the next contested possession, which will come when there's a held ball, or more likely, we haven't seen many held balls this tournament, so more likely at the start of the second quarter. Zach Medell keeping an eye on Riley Batt. Bond with the inbound. Bond to Batt. Batt with 12 seconds to get it over the halfway line, and he does so more or less himself.
Medell right to pull up there. He wasn't going to be able to stop Bond, and he doesn't want to get a foul, a technical foul, hitting him when he has no chance to stop him. While it looks violent, we care about safety.
Huge chest pass from Anthony Letourneau. Back comes Vernon to inbound. Medell did have time to get there this time, but again...
Yeah, he had to make a choice between the ball handler and the pass, and he attacked the ball because you need to force him to pass. But he was able to get back there and slow Bond down, but not stop the try.
If Riley don't get you, then Bondy will, is almost the way that this lineup plays. Most of these players will be very familiar with one another. The Aussies will be very familiar with the entire Canadian lineup. Two new-ish low pointers for Australia. James McQuillan, Quill, at the top of your screen, and then Bo Vernon towards the bottom there.
Both teams looking to make a lineup change at the next dead ball.
Now, to make a change in the lineup, yes, to make a change in your lineup, you can have substitutes coming on and off throughout the match, but they need to be sitting in the subs box ready to come on, and that's what you've identified already.
You can't do it on a try. It has to be out of bounds or a timeout, or maybe an equipment situation where you have no choice but to put a player in. Interesting, though, that Canada is going high-low and Australia will be going more balanced.
Yes, Australia are looking to bring on Shea Graham and Josh Nicholson, a couple of mid-pointers, and Australia have the advantage of having two women in their squad, Shea Graham and Ella Sabljak, and when they come on, it means that Australia can play an extra 0.5 or even 1 if they bring both of them on at the same time. You're assuming that Canada are going to go high-low. They might take off Zach Medell. Can't see that happening myself. But,
I guess it depends if they want to have a chance at one. You got to match that speed. Speed kills out here.
Letourneau with another great pass. Canada being made to work for this one.
Letourneau going to the opposite corner to keep Batt as far away from that play as he can. And if Batt attacks, then Medell can always throw it to him. And we have a penalty try. Riley Batt crossed the try line, and he did not have the ball. That is a penalty.
9-8, Canada keeping it close. And then Riley Batt just cruises up the other end of the court and makes it a 2-point game. Letourneau finding Medell, as he has done countless times throughout his career.
And now with 3 minutes left in the quarter, the substitutions have gone away. Travis Morau is in the sub box, but the big shift, one team changed their minds, the other changed as well.
It's a little like hockey, like ice hockey, where you've got the home coach has the last line change and you're trying to match up certain lines against others. And
Adele has an equipment. He's got a flat.
you heard that, didn't you? You could hear the hiss coming out as his tire deflated, and saw Zach Medell calling it.
And you can see that signal out there when he puts his hands up on his shoulders. That means he has an equipment issue. The referees use the same signal to indicate that they saw it, and that's what the timeout's for. So we have 60 seconds to make a change. Mechanic comes out and just swaps it out. It's a quick release axle. Even though most mechanics can change a tire in about 60 seconds.
Well, the Canadian mechanic is going to spend the next 60 to 120 seconds changing the tyre, and no time to inbound. Brad Doubley likes that one.
That was a mental mistake there. The inbounder did not know his job. He didn't go to get the ball. The referee will not stand for that. So she put the ball down and started that 10-second clock. And Medell quickly went out and grabbed it so that they could at least get it on the floor, but he didn't have an opportunity to throw it to anybody, so he had to use a timeout.
Didn't want to just throw it away because possession, well, possession is 9/10 of the law in this game. Brad Doubley celebrated his 300th game in charge on Wednesday when they defeated Switzerland 60-40. So it's now his 304th game in charge, plus almost 200 as a player as well. So he's getting up towards the 500 mark.
That's amazing.
It is.
That's a lot of games at the international level.
Medell looking to barge his way through.
Caldwell had to back out of the key because he was going to get 10.
Attackers not allowed in the key. The paint there for more than 10 seconds at a time, and on defense you can only have 3 in there at any one time. Another hiss. This time it's Chris Bond. Chris Bond, who took over the captaincy of the Steelers a couple of years ago and led them to victory in Denmark 18 months ago.
Chris is a heck of a player. We saw him play in the United States for a season or two. Another one of those guys that, you know, when you play against him, you won't forget it. He hits hard. He's very fast. Accurate passes. Smart. Morau did a great job of not going across the line there when he got hit by Bond.
The sheer speed of Riley Bat, though, the speed in which he pushing down on those wheels, and the amount of court that he covers.
Caldwell had to get rid of it. Bat was on top of him.
Reminds you that you've got 12 seconds to get the ball over the halfway line when you're starting an attack. So Canada have done that here. Have to bounce every 10 seconds or offload and then score within 40. And there the shot clock was down to 17. So 1 minute and 18 seconds to go. Jason Lee's there holding out a timestamp, and it said 52 seconds. So he writes it down on a tablet and then shows it to the players. So the Aussies are being told to score on 52 seconds.
That'll leave them enough time to get another possession before the end of the quarter.
54.6. I don't think they'll be too distraught about that. Yes, as you say, so even if Canada use up the full 40 seconds here, then the Aussies will have time for another possession. So Canada, to go tit for tat, say, well, we're going to score as quickly as possible. And now even if the Aussies take all 40 seconds.
And that's why teams have different numbers, and sometimes that number changes depending on who you're playing. Because when a team can score that quickly, if you leave 15 seconds by scoring at 55, they have a chance to get another possession.
So what we could see here is the Aussies running down the clock and then using a timeout to reset the shot clock. That way you can take more than 40 seconds off the game clock. And there is that timeout. So the Aussies take their second floor timeout. 14.7 seconds left in the first quarter. The shot clock is reset to 15. In theory, in practice, it'll just be wiped off because the shot clock is now the game clock. They've got 14.7 seconds in which to score, and this is something that they will have practiced and drilled, both teams, both on attack and defence, how to score in 14.7 seconds, how to defend in 14.7 seconds.
So if they can score here, then it means that Canada won't have a chance to tie with the first possession of the second.
Canada will get the first possession of the next quarter. So once this is touched, 5 seconds, what can Zach Medell do? James McQuillan taking bow, stopped him on the line. And there we go. Australia lead it by 2 points at the first break, 14-12. The second period is upon us, and you can see that there's been a change for the Aussies. Captain Bond has gone off, as has James McQuillan, and those two have replaced a high pointer and a low pointer have been replaced by two mid pointers, Josh Nicholson and Andrew Edmondson.
Canada also changing lines here. Trevor Hirschfield, number 10. Mike Whitehead, number 8.
Eric Rodriguez out there as well. So that is their equivalent of going for the high-low. So
yep, they kind of switched positions.
Canada going for the high-low and the Aussies going for the more balanced one. So Canada had the first possession. Australia immediately responding. Big hit and knocks it loose.
Hirschfield unable to hang on, and he gets the foul trying to get his hand on top of the ball.
Well, there are times when people say that this sport is similar to NFL gridiron, and that was a huge hit there that jarred the ball free that you do see.
He only had it with one arm, and he tried to control his chair with the other arm, and that ball wasn't in there tight enough.
So a huge turnover. Andrew Edmondson, the New South Welshman, gets the ball from fellow NSW gladiator Riley Batts, and he's going to take his time while his teammates set up. Aussie's getting a little further clear. It's 3 points the difference now.
Slowed a little bit, but Medell able to work past the chair. Riley Batt. Hirschfield turned a little bit too late there, and Batt was able to push him across the try line.
Batt with both Hirschfield and Medell for company there. Aussies setting up in the key, 3 in the key. Josh Nicholson out of it. Nicholson, a Queenslander, 29 years old. Made his international debut 7 years ago. Andrew Edmondson, a decade of international competition.
Too much space for Hirschfield to cover by himself. Edmondson did a good job of dividing the key in half so that Hirschfield had to cover half of it all by himself.
Cruising over the halfway line, and a swipe there from Zach Medell. Aussies scoring reasonably easily at the moment. Aussies set up in the key again. Vernon has to make sure he doesn't go in or get pushed in. And then Medell barges his way in between the two mid-pointers.
See Eric Rodriguez there tried to do the same thing, divide the key in half, so that number 14 from Australia, Edmondson, wasn't able to go and help out. And then Medell could pick which side he wanted to go around Nicholson.
How about that there from Riley Batt? He was right on his own try line and then parted the Red Sea, and Bo Vernon goes over for another try. A lot of talk in this game. You can hear various players on the bench and on the court shouting the odds. You need to inbound within 10 seconds, and it was tight on time there. Edmondson picks it up for the turnover. I think called a timeout just before he went out of bounds.
That ball had to be in front of Whitehead for him to get there first, but it was out too far for him to pick it up.
So yes, Australia have taken their third floor timeout. You can see they're down to 1 and 2 in terms of the timeouts. But they won't mind that. They've picked the ball off. And now they've got a fully reset shot clock with which to make the most of this turnover. Convert it into a point scored.
Oh, a vertical. Yeah, that's a vertical spin. Medell got knocked up so that his front casters were up, puts him in a dangerous position. So I believe it's Riley Batt who made that hit. Who will go to... I'm confused. Why is Medell in the box?
Well, he went over the try line, and that's been what's called. Nicholson hit him. So.
Gosh, okay. I thought for sure that was a vertical. He did knock him across the line. There's no question about that.
So well done by Josh Nicholson, the number 21 there. And Medell was trapped coming out of the sin bin, so he's elected to inbound. That's taking 3.5 points off the court. A little give and go. And great movement there. From his fellow high pointer, Whitehead.
Whitehead got hit in the face.
Riley Batt apologising for that one. Australia have got the lead up to 4 points, though.
I didn't get to see it, but the sportsmanship there. Riley went back and said, "You okay, mate?" And they both stuck their hands out and saying, "It's cool. It's part of the game. We're trying to get this done. Plus, you're going to the box."
There's that as well, yes. So you can apologise all you like. It was picked up by referee Hempfling.
And a turnover. Missed inbound there. Riley Batt's asking for a bench. He wants his coach to call a bench timeout.
A couple of missed inbounds by Bo Vernon. One in the first, one in the second.
So both teams switching back. Now high-low again for Australia and more balanced for Canada.
Chris Bond back out there, and Ben Fawcett is the other low pointer rather than James McQuillan. Anthony Letourneau in the glasses there, as you can see.
Now Canada will try and set up a play to attack the key. And leaving the court, Riley Batt got the same treatment that Medell got at the other end. So he'll go back to the penalty box.
Knocked out by Letourneau, good and proper. Batt in the bin. Cody Caldwell, who's come back on, the mid-pointer.
Canada will take their time so they can get set up on Batt, so he has to inbound again. And that's how they got that turnover. They want to do the same thing.
Letourneau sitting in front of him and forcing him to raise his arm and say, "I will inbound." So the deficit's back to 2. Australia will get the next possession, but there are obviously 2 changes of the possession arrow to come, at least, because we've got 2 quarters to come at least. So Canada won't be too distraught about that. They'll be very keen to get the last score of this quarter, though.
Knocked out by Batt. Canada will get a new 12 seconds to cross half, but they'll have to start in the corner, which is somewhat of a disadvantage because now you're trapped. You've got 2 walls behind you, and you can't work that baseline.
Halves the angle, but look at that for a pass from Anthony Letourneau.
Batt keeping Medell out of that play.
And then Bond says, "I'll just crash my way through the other 3 of you."
And I think that hit on Rodriguez, he needs some help. like he needs a tire change. Usually it's the low pointers getting the high pointers, but not this time. Caldwell looked up court to see if Medell was going to be there for him.
Goes this way and that. Nicely done by Cody Caldwell.
So they're going to call that a meter even though Bond was moving. It's interesting. So you, as an inbounder, you get an arc from the line at a meter deep to allow you to get behind the court. And if any player goes into it, offense or defense, it's a penalty on that player. You can knock someone into it if even.
So Caldwell got too close to that meter around the inbounder. Australia will now take their time.
Off the ball here, you had Medell going to free up Letourneau. He's got those two low pointers all over him, and he was pretty locked up, so Medell was coming behind and kind of clearing one out so he could get free, because he needs Letourneau in order to get that ball on the court, because Caldwell's going to go inbound from the box.
Caldwell inbounding, Rodrigue there. And so the outlets are going to be Letourneau and Medell. Letourneau picks it up.
Took his time, waited for that picker to come back and help him.
Accurate pass from Caldwell to Medell. Bond to bat.
Bat taking the long way.
Needs to get the pass out and does so. Vernon with the nice block. Fawcett goes over as well.
Now we get into clock management time.
18 on the shot clock. The Aussies are going to try to run that one down. Ambitious stuff when you're only 2 points clear. However, when you've got Bat and Bond, then you can afford to be ambitious. 1:44 to go, the Aussies 3 clear.
So that was not a penalty try because Caldwell crossed when the ball was not advancing toward the try line.
So 2 clear, and it resets the shot clock back to 40, as you can see there. So the Aussies are going to run this one down. They will have been flashed a time card of about 1 minute and 5, I do believe it is, that the Aussie bench is holding up. Particularly since it is 4 on 3 or 8 on 6, if you like. You can see Caldwell 2.0, so there are 2 points off the court at the moment. So it's 8 points playing 6 points. Medell keeping them honest.
But not wanting to foul. They don't want to have 2 players in the penalty box. They got to stay away from that baseline. They can't reach in on it, because once you got 2 guys in the box, now you're in trouble because you have to inbound shorthanded.
1:04 left on the clock. Perfect time management by the Aussies. Just what the doctor, or rather just what the bench and the coach and the assistant coaches ordered.
And we have a player leaving the court.
Ben Fawcett, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. They will not give a penalty try on that one either.
Ben Fawcett, who hails from the wonderfully named town in Victoria of Bacchus Marsh. I love the name of that town.
Canada just playing keep away at this point. I expect them to do the same that Australia did. Use a timeout get the last try here, especially since the possession arrow is in Australia's favor. Can't allow them to get 2 more up on you.
10 seconds to go on the shot clock. So Medell is going to let it wind down and then give it the T signal. So the little 3 is going to go down to a little 2 next to Canada's 22.
A lot of strategery going on out there.
Ben Fawcett still on the sidelines, but it's just 0.5 that's off. So the Aussies are going to try to keep the Canadians off the scoreboard if they can. It's not going to happen. Letourneau is going to go over as late as possible. Fawcett, Vernon's going to try to get him over the line. It's Riley Batt who does so. So, 3 seconds to go. The 3 seconds will start once the inbound is touched, so not when Bond releases it. So now, but they're just going to hold on to it. And at the big break, Australia have stretched their lead by 1 more point. They lead Canada in this qualifying final 25-23. Welcome back to the second half of the final of this tournament in Wellington, the Paralympic qualification tournament. Both teams have qualified, so this is for the gold medal and for bragging rights. Australia have gone back to their starting lineup of Bat, Bond, Vernon and McQuillan. And Dave, you were keeping an eye on the Canadians and saying that they were waiting to see exactly who came out before they decided how to match up.
They had 6 players so that they could amount to the high-low lineup and the more balanced lineup, and they waited until Australia brought their 4 on, and then 2 went back to the bench. So now we know for sure what they preferred based on which lines out there, in case you didn't already know.
Australia with the possession arrow to start off with. So that arrow has now obviously changed. It's in favour of Canada, but Australia starting us off in this third quarter. Australia with
Rodriguez.
1 floor timeout left and 2 for the Canadians.
Bat just kept working that right corner until Canada went far enough left that he knew he could get around the other side.
Letourneau needs to get it over the halfway line. Bat not wanting him to. That familiar chest pass of his to Caldwell. Get it into the hands of Medell. Canadians being made to work for this one. Medell with Bat and Bond around him. And obviously if Bat and Bond are around Medell, then Medell says, I'm going to hand it off to Caldwell.
Anytime you're double teamed, there's somebody open. And if you've got the 2 fastest players, then one of your speedier guys is going to be able to streak through. Contact.
Bat tapping Bond on the back. And Letourneau is going to have to spend a minute on the sidelines. Likely less than a minute, because Australia will be looking to score sooner rather than later.
Trying to pop the ball out of the lap. Make something happen here. Canada needs to get a turnover in order to get this game tighter.
Bat waiting to score until Bond and McQuillan were hemming in Letourneau and forcing him to inbound. Very good inbounder, but obviously it takes a couple of points off the court, albeit temporarily.
Caldwell did a nice job of, he was being pestered by the low pointers of Australia. They had him pinned up, and every time he got off, they got back to him, and he still got a hold of the ball. But Australia's defense just really good on that possession. Not allowing anyone to get open on the other side of the court.
You can see the hand signals there from Kristin Hempfling, the referee. She was saying 2-1, number 21 of Canada took a timeout. So Canada down to 1 floor timeout, both teams with both of their bench timeouts left. Canadians counting down. They're trying to knock Riley Bat off the court. Letourneau almost went off the court himself.
Wow. Good to get back far enough that that ball could get to him without Bat knocking it down. Of course, Bat was looking at the chair of Letourneau trying to push him out before that ball came.
Well, we're enjoying the replay there and seeing exactly how accurate the pass was. Australia were racing up the other end and undoing all of the good work.
Riley Bat's been icing that shoulder all week. Doesn't seem like it's affecting him at this point. Not that we can tell from here.
Well, it's hanging by a thread during the World Championships 18 months ago. And it gets a lot of tape on it.
Canada really having trouble with that key. But when there's 4 in there, of course they're having trouble.
Indeed, you look at it and think, well, yes, there's obviously 4 in there, both Vernon and McQuillan.
And the reason we don't allow that is because when you have 4 chairs in the key, along with 3 offensive chairs, there's no way anybody's ever getting through. It's only 8 meters by 1.75 meters. Canada going high-low now.
Rio Kovac with the glasses. He's the one who's come on.
Pico Dagenet as well. And Trevor Hirschfield. Medell, the only one left.
Medell likely to play all 32 minutes of this unless the result really gets beyond doubt early on. Certainly not the case at the moment. There's just, wow. Bo Vernon there once again. He's going to hold on to it. Wait for a better set of hands and a stronger trunk to appear.
They wanted him to call timeout. That's Australia's last. And you can see when you get a low pointer with the ball, it's down in there. The only way he can protect it is to not try and pass it because he doesn't have the wrist function and the bicep function to get that ball out of there and get it to the high pointer, unless they can get in and take it away. See Bond trying to get in there close enough, but he calls timeout. So that's interesting. It'd be interesting to see if those timeouts, the lack of timeouts now causes Australia to get into trouble and turn the ball over, because they're going to have to make some desperate passes.
Canada still just with the 1 timeout of their own, and we've had a change, so the Aussies have gone for the more balanced lineup. Vernon stays out there, as does Riley Batt, and then you've got Nicholson and Edmondson coming on.
Dagenet, I believe, was pushed out there, so he will go to the penalty box.
Edmo, as he is known, takes his time and then over he goes. Zach Medell with a lot of company there. Vernon and Nicholson keeping him well under wraps. He's still trapped there, but Kovac is going to get through.
He's a much younger player, and he's quick in his own right.
Canada keeping it close here, just 2 points behind.
He's part of Canada's future, and they know it. So they want to get him time in games like these. Get that big game experience.
Edmondson gets across the halfway line, make sure he isn't pushed back behind it. Nicholson fighting there, gets it off to Riley Batt, who avoids the sideline. No timeouts, of course.
But he had 3 men.
Beautiful little hand there from Bo Vernon onto Andrew Edmondson.
3 Canadian players on Riley Batt, which means the other 3 are only covered by 1.
Medell was ready to pounce, but that was great hands by Bo Vernon, just tapping it on to Andrew Edmondson. Nicholson keeping pace with Kovac. Nicholson, he's out there auditioning almost. He's very much part of the second line there, but he's telling Brad Duberly that he's worth minutes whenever the coach wants to give him some.
His defense reminds me a little bit of Nick Springer, although he has a picker on his chair.
Batt versus Medell. Medell reaches, overreaches, and Madison Little says a bridge too far. 4 on 3, but it's 8 on 5.5 because 3.5 is on the sidelines. As we look at the Australian bench, Ella Saljak, Shay Graham, Braden Foxley-Connolly there as well. Jake Howe, Ben Fawcett, Jaden Warren.
So Canada has to use a bench timeout to ensure that Medell doesn't have to inbound. He called for inbound so he could get out of the box, and they can spend that coach's timeout to make sure that someone else can now inbound.
First coach's timeout used for them. Australia haven't used either of theirs. Canada, it means they can reset a little, they can have a bit of a break as well. Medell's just had one, but he's going to have another minute or so to breathe.
He's got a wet towel over there trying to cool off. I'm sure he's hot. It's not as hot in here as it has been some days, but I'm sure down on that floor when you're pushing around at the speed they're pushing, that cold towel feels great.
We have had 4 seasons in one day down here in Wellington. To quote the legendary New Zealand band Crowded House, there's a crowded house in the key there, but Medell manages to get through. Riley Batt manages to lift his chair through there. Bo Vernon comes across just to nudge Zach Medell out of the way.
Good play, keeping your head up, make sure that you know where everybody is on the court. Medell able to see Kovac.
Bat hemmed in by the sideline as well as by, oh, it's batted back. And he had to get that over the halfway line desperately. He did so too late. Didn't count as a change of possession when it was batted back by Medell. And so it's a violation, the 12-second violation, not getting it over the halfway line. It's a turnover for Canada. They can now make this a 1-point game. Furthermore, they have the possession arrow. So all of a sudden, this match has got even more exciting than it was already. You can see the Canadians looking to make substitutions as well with players going into the box. Edmondson won't let him through. You can see the shot clock's down to 10 and he goes around the other side.
It's kind of a benefit to Australia that it took so long for Canada to score on that, because the momentum could easily have shifted more significantly if they had scored quickly.
Edmondson just staying in, and it's another turnover.
Medell got in there and popped that one right back to Kovac. And they had to spend a timeout to make sure he didn't go out of bounds, but they do retain possession and they can tie it up right here.
This is amazing. 2 turnovers in one go. And we've had substitution, so the Aussies going back to the well, going back to their original lineup. You could see McQuillan and Bond coming back on there. So they've gone for the starting 4. Canada making changes as well. Letourneau is back out. Rodrigue and Caldwell. Canada looking to tie it up here, and they have the possession arrow as well. So whoever scores last in this quarter will absolutely have the advantage.
Batt's pressure is relentless on Caldwell.
Bear in mind that the Aussies were 2 clear at the start of this quarter and had the possession arrow. now it's a tie game.
Unstoppable force and immovable object there in the key. Medell was able to get the try.
Timestamp here is 52 seconds for the Aussies. See it being held up there.
Very important for them to get the final try of this period to keep Canada from getting the lead.
Remembers to bounce. 53.6. I think the bench will be happy enough with that.
Canada will look to score here as quickly as possible. They only have one more timeout, and that's a floor timeout, so they can't use that here to manage the clock.
As the floor timeout's all gone, just bench timeout, and that was almost corralled by Bo Vernon. And it ends up going out of play off Vernon, so Canada get possession back.
They got away with one there.
Doesn't reset the shot clock because it wasn't a change of possession. Bo Vernon was never actually in full possession of it, so Canada just have 26 seconds to go. Main thing for them is that they score. Down it goes.
That does not look like a comfortable position.
Chris Bond, and flips himself over before he's now flipped up. This is how it happened. Reaching in there to get that all but loose ball. And that resets the shot clock. So if they like, Canada can now take the full 25 seconds that are remaining.
And that's a huge victory for Canada. That Australia does not have the opportunity, at least not yet, to score that last try.
You can hear the Canadians counting down. Le Tourneau. 4.5 seconds. If anyone can score in the space of 4.5 seconds, it's these two, the killer bees, as it were, Bat and Bond, but that's just going to go out. And after 3 quarters, it's 3-3 plays 3-3, 33 apiece as we go into the 3-minute break. Welcome back for the final quarter, and it is 33 apiece. How about that? Australia were 2 clear starting the third quarter. And then all of a sudden, and they had the possession arrow as well, and all of a sudden, Canada got 2 turnovers in a row towards the end. In the last couple of minutes, they have the possession arrow. They kick us off in this final quarter, and they have a chance to take the lead in this final for the first time. A reminder that both of these teams have qualified for the Paralympics, so this one is just for the gold medal. I say just for the gold medal. There's a lot at stake here. Germany joined them earlier in the day, defeating Brazil.
Oh, Hirschfield pushed across the line, and that'll be a turnover.
Let's see that one again.
Riley Batt did the deed. Got the turnover and now gives Australia the chance to be the ones to score the first try of the fourth.
Shea Graham has come on. She's the one in possession of the ball. She's on for Andrew Edmondson. So in the balanced lineup that they can have. So Nicholson's still there, number 21. She is a 2.5 pointer, but the fact that she is a female player means that they can have an extra 0.5 out on court. And wonderful to see her being trusted with this incredibly important game time here. From Mackay originally. She's been playing for the past 5 years.
Just gets it across. There were 12 seconds off that shot clock when that ball hit the ground, so it was very close.
She's got a family here with her, Shea Graham. There is a little girl in the crowd who's been here for the past 5 days, holding up a sign saying, "Go Auntie Shea." So she's just seen her aunt score a try. Zach Medell not interested in any of that sentiment, however. 35 apiece.
Once again, we see the chess match of matchups for the different lines from the teams.
Shea Graham off as quickly as she was on.
Both teams back at their starting 4.
So high-low for the Aussies. Bow and Quill back on. And Chris Bond, the captain, back on. 2 people not going off at any point, and that's Riley Batt and Zach Medell. So the Aussies somehow back with their noses in front. It should have been Canada taking the lead, and there was a turnover when Letourneau was pushed over the line on the first possession, so Canada still haven't had a lead. Remember, if we go back right to the very first possession, the ball bounced this way and that twice before Australia took control of it. Medell maybe having a little something to say about Riley Batt as he was going over for that try. Canada setting up in the key.
One turnover could easily decide this.
That goes all the way around, gives it to Bond. Just over the line before Letourneau tried to punch it out.
Able to hang on. You have to have control.
Dave, tell us what happens if we're level. Do we just chop the gold medals in half?
No, we'll go to overtime. They will have another jump. There will be a 3-minute overtime. Each team will get 1 more timeout.
And if they're level after that, we're going to keep going for the 3-minute periods, and we're going to keep enjoying it, because this is one heck of a match.
Yeah, there are no penalty kicks in this game.
Exactly,
we
yes.
can't kick. Most of us, anyway.
.37 all, 5 minutes and 39 seconds to go. No floor timeouts left. Vernon comes back for the inbound. Who's going to appear and be the outlet for him? That's his captain. Showing good patience.
Australia working hard on those inbounds and getting them done.
Quick score for Canada. Just 6 seconds having gone down on the shot clock. No substitute sitting in the box. You get the impression that these 8 are the ones who are going to decide the fate of this match.
Nice catch.
That was just Velcro, wasn't it? The ball is sticky.
They do get sticky over the course of the weekend. You're not supposed to have the pine tar that people use, but there's some on the chairs and it gets on the ball. Turno knocked out of bounds. Bond, really big heads up play there. Rodriguez not able to protect his inbounder.
Well, a good innings in cricket by the skipper is known as a captain's knock, and this is a captain's knock quite literally. Knocks him out of play. A huge turnover. The Aussies have a 2-point lead.
If Canada can't make something happen here soon as far as a turnover, that could be the difference right there.
2 turnovers for the Aussies. Canada got 2 turnovers at the end of the 3rd quarter. The Steelers have got 2 at the start of this 4th quarter.
Great ball movement there. A little touch pass from Adele to Letourneau, and then Letourneau just gave it right back.
Bond waits for everybody to set up.
He's got 2 low pointers back in the key. Looks like Australia's planning to sit key defense this play.
Back they go. Takes time off the clock as well.
Yeah, with a 2-try advantage, you're not playing with the potential of a tie. Takes a little pressure off. And makes the clock more your friend.
Bo Vernon trying to stay out of the key. Letourneau stuck in there, can't be in there for 10 seconds. Canadian bench counting down.
You can see the shot clock in the background at 2.2. So they pulled it off just before time expired.
At the moment, doesn't really matter how quickly you score, it's just making sure that you do score. And then look at Riley Batt, let's say tiptoeing his way through, barging his way through, stamping his way through. And a coach's timeout taken by Brad Duberly with 3 minutes and 35 seconds to go.
Probably a good time to do that. Get these guys just a little breather. Give them some strategy for the final 3.5 minutes of this game. Neither team is showing any indication of a lineup change.
It's interesting because you've got the 2 high pointers for Australia, and then you've also got Nicholson, Edmondson, McQuillan and Vernon on court in that little arc. So it could be 2 low pointers. It is indeed the 2 low pointers who come back out, meaning that Bond stays back out there. It looked as if at one point Edmondson and Nicholson might have been coming out. These 2 coaches trying to outfox one another. And you have to be pretty wily to outfox Brad Duberly.
Caldwell has the key split in half. Wow. Bond got Medell up there on one wheel, but he was able to control his chair and get back down and cross that line.
Riley Batt, the on-field general, talking everybody through the moves, telling them exactly where to go.
He's leading the defense. He's trying to create space.
See the shot clock in the background. And is that a turnover? Has Chris Bond been forced over the line?
It appears that's the case. So Canada now with a chance to tie it back up.
3 minutes to go. One score the difference. Le Tourneau is going to give it to Medell. Batt's going to follow them all. And we're level. 164 seconds to go.
You cannot let Canada stay in it to the end because they will make you pay. Such a great game so far. Both teams recovering from adversity. And now we have, it's tied up.
Bond Medell. Just about gets over before he knocks the cone, or did he? No! They've said that he touched the cone, and that is a turnover.
Wow.
Caldwell coming in from the back there.
One caster did cross, and Caldwell hit him. It turned the chair away so the other caster couldn't cross and pushed him into that cone.
Are Canada finally going to take the lead? With 2 minutes, 19 seconds to go, they are 43-42. Much along the lines of the third quarter, 2 turnovers in favour of Canada right at the end.
Australia reacting with a potential substitution going back to that midline. They haven't done it, obviously, but they may. Signs up, says 140 is where they want them to score.
Huge inbound there from James McQuillan. Bunted it nicely. There is that 140 sign. And
that'll talk it out.
Nicholson and Edmondson leave the substitutes box. Nervous times here. Australia a point adrift.
Great job there. Back kept trying and trying. He wasn't going to make it, and Bond slipped into the open space, and Riley got it to him.
141. Are we going to see another turnover? Le Tourneau with another try over the top. What's the timestamp going to be now? 52 seconds. Australia are going to look to score with 52 seconds on the clock. The main thing for them, though, is they need to score. They are a point adrift. Canada lead it 44-43. Canada, who were behind up until 1 minute ago. Behind on the scoreboard for 29 minutes. But you've been saying it for all of those 29 minutes, Dave. Write Canada off at your peril. If Canada are close at the end, then they're going to make you pay.
Well executed key offense there.
Into the final minute. Great work by Bo Vernon. Medell now. When does he want to score? No timeouts can be taken. He's going to be able to get it to Le Tourneau. Back comes Bond. Counting down. Over he goes. Australia have 20 seconds in which to tie it up. No timestamps here. Of course, they don't want to score too early. They don't want to give Canada time to have the last possession. .4 seconds for a miracle play. Otherwise, we are going to overtime, and that is what is going to happen.
Free rugby coming at you. Wow.
45 all at the end of the 32 minutes. We will have another 3-minute break, and then we will come back for overtime. We are back for 3 minutes of overtime, and you can see, well, Aussie, 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 there we go. We know who they are supporting in the crowd. Medell and Bond, who's going to win the tip? And it's Australia who get the first possession. So if they can get the first score on the board, and the last score, it's whoever gets the last score is the long and the short of it, who's going to win this 3-minute overtime period. Both teams being given one extra floor timeout to use. They've gone back to their starting lineups, high-low there for the Aussies, a little more balanced for Canada.
Winning the tip in overtime is a huge advantage. It's a great way to start a very short period, and it usually means that you're in control for most of it.
Canada still have a coach's timeout if they need one, but they've just had a reset and a chat with Patrick Coté.
I say that went off an Australian player, so Canada will not get a shot clock reset, but they will get the ball with 9 remaining, and a bench timeout called, which means they'll get 15 seconds back on the shot clock.
Clever way of doing things there by Patrick Coté. You can see kneeling down there. Time for them to reset. The Aussies all setting up in the key. They're not going to go anywhere.
They have to score this try. There's not enough time in overtime to give one up and think you're going to come back when you're already down by 1.
Very cleverly done there by Patrick Coté to take that bench timeout. So that gives them an extra 6 seconds. They were down to 9 seconds. And how about that? They have indeed scored.
That was very close to out and in, where one caster crosses and then comes back onto the court. That is a penalty, and you do not get that try.
So the timestamps will already be, well, they'll be written up on the tablet. And that was why Chris Bond was looking back. 1:55 is usually the one.
And overtime, you're generally managing the clock the entire time.
They would have been told what the timestamps were during the break before overtime started, but obviously it depends on who wins the tip. Bat pushing back Letourneau.
Bond, great defense there on Medel. He could not get open for that pass, so Zach calls that timeout. Ensures that they don't turn the ball over there.
You can see that what it meant there to the Australian bench. You could see Braden Foxley-Connolly banging away on his wheels in celebration as the timeout was called by Zach Medel.
It's 2 timeouts by Canada. They have nothing left.
They are a point adrift. They're in possession. 31 on the shot clock.
But they don't seem to have any momentum.
It's been all Australia in this brief period of overtime.
Nice play.
They've got to be careful
also
not to make mistakes here.
He's got to work that clock, but he also has to score the try, like you said.
1 minute exactly is the time stamp. 1:05 it is, 1:05.
Long pass answered with long pass.
Clock management is almost everything. Obviously, scoreboard management is the main thing. Ball management as well. 1:05. Letourneau to Medel. Medel over the halfway line. And over the try line. Canada back level. 54 seconds to go. 16 is what they're saying. Run it down to 16. And of course the Aussies still have a timeout left.
And that's huge here because they do not have to give the ball back to Canada.
20 seconds left on the shot clock.
But again, they have to score that try.
They do.
And not leave too much time on the clock.
Listen to the countdown. A timeout is coming. Kristin Hempfling was waiting, looking, saw Chris Bond, called the timeout. 15.4 seconds. That resets the shot clock to 15, as you can see there. Shot clock, game clock, more or less the same. Brad Duberly turning away, could barely watch. So, as soon as the ball is touched after the inbound, the clock goes away. Right, let's go. Can Australia get over the try line in time? And he's done it with 1.8 seconds to go, 1.5. Back goes Bond. Letourneau. The game clock only starts again when it's touched after the inbound, so it's got to go now, and it's been intercepted. And Australia win it, 49-48. Wonderful clock management in overtime. They did everything right, but boy, was that a close final. It was worthy of a gold medal match, and it's the green and gold who have taken it by the tightest of margins.
What an amazing game. It's the best one we've seen all week, and two of the best teams, both teams undefeated coming into this one. Unfortunately, somebody had to lose, and this time Australia comes out on top.
There it is, the winning try again, and then there was a winning interception after that by Riley Batt.
Bond caught that just before his casters crossed the line, being hit from behind by Medell. Just great timing. And you can see why Australia has won several gold medals. They rise to the occasion and they finish the job. Great performance by Canada. That was a fun one to watch for no matter who you're rooting for. It's just a great game.
An amazing performance by both teams. Canada to drag it back at the death, both in the third and fourth quarters. Now we have Australia's captain, the victorious captain, Chris Bond, who is with Jai Waite.
Bondy, great game.
Great game, absolutely. What a cracker. Top two teams of the tournament. We knew it was going to be close and a really good game. They always push us to the end, and it didn't disappoint, that's for sure.
Well, good luck for the Paralympics, man. And if it's going to be like this, it's going to be awesome, right?
Thank you, mate, and thank you, New Zealand. It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
And time for Bondy, the captain, to get back into that team huddle.
Well, we certainly echo that sentiment. It's been great here in New Zealand. This has been a great tournament. All the people have been great. I hope that we get an opportunity to come back.
Well, the cheering you could hear there was actually from the Canadian huddle. They've got plenty to celebrate. They are going to Paris in less than 6 months' time.
They accomplished their primary goal. They like to have won this one, and they fought hard to the end. But they got that ticket to Paris, and that's what matters.
And now, lucky us, we get to talk to Zach Medell as well. He has gone over to join Jai Waite.
Zach, it's the small margins, right?
Always the small margins. This is a game of inches. Unfortunately, we missed a couple inches there at the end, and the Aussies managed to squeak one out in overtime, but lots of good takeaways. We're going to see these guys again in Paris, I'd imagine, so we go home, get a little rest, and start planning for the next one.
Talking of Paris, is this what we're going to expect from Paris, close games like this?
I think a lot of the games in Paris are going to be close. The top 8 teams are going to be such a tight field to play. I think we're going to see a lot of overtimes there, a lot of 1- and 2-point games, and we're looking forward to it. It's more fun that way.
Oh, well, go, man, and great final. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Thanks, boys. Great work this week.
Yeah, cheers.
We are indeed going to Paris at the end of August. USA, Japan, France, Great Britain and Denmark had already qualified, and they have been joined at this 2024 World Wheelchair Rugby Paralympic qualification tournament in Wellington by Australia, Canada and Germany. Germany, who defeated Brazil 62-50 earlier in the day. Great performance by Germany throughout the week.
Absolutely, and you saw it game after game. They just methodically just kept chipping away, and they maintained possession of the ball. And that's what you need to do. You got to score your tries, and you got to create opportunities for turnovers, because even if they don't come and you do the right thing, eventually those things are going to turn into turnovers, and that's what they did. They're not as flashy as Brazil, and they're not as flashy as some of the teams that are out there flying around, but they get it done.
Well, what a wonderful tournament it has been over the past 5 days at the New Zealand Campus of Innovation and Sport. The 2024 World Wheelchair Rugby Paralympic Qualification Tournament is at an end. We have our 3 qualifiers, Australia, Canada and Germany. We've had some absolutely wonderful matches throughout the week, and we've been delighted to bring them to you. Thank you for watching wherever you've been around the world, and please make sure that you keep watching this absolutely wonderful sport that is wheelchair rugby.